according to this big computer thingy here. We're in the Aldermanic Chamber. It's December 18th, and I'm calling to order a meeting of the Human Affairs Committee. Madam Clerk, would you mind calling the roll?
Sure. Alderwoman at Large Gloria Timmons, Alderman at Large Melbourne Moran Jr., Alderman Patricia Klee Clerk, yeah, I'm here, and Alderwoman at Large Shoshana Kelly Vice Chair.
I'm here.
And Alderman Thomas Lopez Chairman.
I'm here.
We have 3 and we have quorum.
Also joining us is Alderman Tebow.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. And also in attendance is Mr. Julian Long and Officer Pasillo.
Right. So we're going to begin with a public hearing on FY 2025 CDBG Home Programs Annual Action Plan Development, Fair Housing Plan Development. Mr. Long, is there any chance that's what you're here to present on?
Good evening. This is the first of 2 public hearings that we'll be having for both of these plans. It's our annual action plan for the CDBG and home programs, and also our fair housing plan, which we're required to draft and abide by as a HUD fund recipient. This public hearing for both plans is before the drafting of the plans. So the public has opportunity to provide input before we start drafting. And the second of the hearings that we'll hold for both the FY25 action plan and the fair housing plan will be held after those drafts are complete and have been made available to the public. The annual action plan sets out our priorities and funding allocations for the CDBG and home programs for the upcoming program year. And the fair housing plan identifies opportunities for affirmatively furthering fair housing as is required by HUD, and also analyzes past and present concerns regarding fair housing issues in the city.
So as a point of clarification, you'd said that this public hearing is meant to be before the plan becomes developed, and then after you develop the plan, then they comment on that. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And there's also plenty of other opportunities for the public to provide input. We have some community surveys for both general community development and also specific to fair housing, both available. The fair housing survey is being conducted in coordination with the National Regional Planning Commission.
So people would be able to find information about that on National Regional Planning Commission, but probably also urban programs on our own website?
Absolutely. If folks go to the Nashua City website and then go to departments and urban programs, they will find all of the relevant information under news and announcements.
Okay. And are there examples of our previous plans too?
Yes. Previous plans are also posted to the website.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Any questions from the committee? Alderman Klee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Long, the quick question that I have is we're having this public hearing and you said it's just more for input. Would this also been a good opportunity for those that will be seeking the grant to have come and given us some input? I know this just says testimony in favor of and opposition, but what are they voting? What are they speaking in favor of?
That's a great question. There's not really anything to speak in favor of or against.
Right.
It's more just input at this stage of the process. And those who are interested in applying for grant funds, the CDBG grant application for FY25 was due December 8th. And those applicants will be invited to present before the Human Affairs Committee, most likely at your February meeting, but I will make sure that is at a meeting that works for all of the members of the committee.
May I?
Yep.
I understand that we have to have this, but it seems like it's for naught, because it's hard for people to speak in favor of or against when there's nothing to speak in favor of or against. It just feels like it's a paper transaction, I guess. And considering that the applicants had done this, their applications by 12/8, I just think it would have been a good opportunity if they had come to here. So just my 2 cents into it. So Mr. Chairman, do you,
I don't disagree, actually. Would it be possible to get a presentation in January of people who have applied or general ideas before it gets refined into a full plan and then there's a public hearing, a formal public hearing? At least we could kind of get a snapshot of what could have been presented tonight.
I think there might be a misunderstanding of what the public hearing is. It's really not intended for the nonprofits. They're very welcome to come in and attend, but it's really for citizen input. And you're correct. Obviously, there's no one here right now. That's how public hearings usually go. But we are required, statutorily
We're not
required to
gonna
hold
blame
this
you for
public
that.
hearing.
That's
Oh, no.
probably on our side, and that's where a lot of the
That's
questions are coming
why-
from, is how do we tell the public what we're doing?
Yes. So that's why we have the surveys in addition to public hearing. This is why the Urban Programs Department attends all of the summer festivals to hold conversations in the neighborhoods with residents directly. That's obviously the much more valuable method that we use to get actual input from general residents.
Mayor?
Yep.
Please understand that I was not pointing any blame towards you or even anybody. I was just thinking as a whole, we could do a better job. You're already doing that better job through the fairs and the things that you're going to. Truthfully, when I saw we were having the public hearing, I was scurrying, trying to find out what was the public hearing about. I couldn't find anything. I could have picked up the phone and called you, but things have been a little crazy, so. But that was just a point I was making, is that we have this public hearing, and the criticism we could get from the public is, you put this up, but we have no idea what this is about. So I'm glad you've already pointed out that you've been doing the surveys and you've been talking to people, so this is not like a brand new thing, but there's some people that only see these things when they look at the agendas.
Yes.
So, and again, not you, I'm talking collectively as a whole and a body, and I know this is a requirement, so I will leave it. Thank you.
It's also worth pointing out that HUD might have required us to do a public hearing, but they didn't give us the format for that. This is just our standard format. Is that correct?
That is correct. We're not required to do opposition and those in favor.
And so they didn't necessarily require us to hold a charrette or anything like that, and so sometimes it doesn't exactly squeeze in there.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think we have a better idea of that. Like I said, if you're interested in presenting kind of what's going on in process so that it isn't a public hearing, yay or nay, at the end point, you're always welcome. If you're busy working on plans and you feel like for some reason that might be a detriment to the process, then we'll just point at the existing public interaction and engagement options that you have and wait until you're ready for an actual presentation.
Yeah, I'd be happy to provide a presentation at your next meeting.
Okay, well, I mean, I spun the idea out because I understand that, like, for a member of the public coming in trying to make comment in favor or opposed to something they haven't really seen anything, that might be challenging. But on the other hand, if you're still working on the draft of it, then what do you have to show yet? So I don't want to add too much to your plate. So
No,
feel
certainly
free
in
to-
future years, what we could do is discuss current projects of the FY24, for example, plan, which is mid-implementation.
Mm.
And that provides good examples of here are the kinds of things that CDBG and Home can do.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, so if you want to work with our administrative assistant, then we can definitely make sure we have time for that. So let's move on with the hearing part, because we should probably hear the public
Yeah.
at some point, though they are
Not here.
not within the frame of my vision. So any testimony in favor of our, I guess we don't actually have a
It's
resolution.
not on, no.
Okay, any public comment in favor of our fiscal year 2025 CDBG and Home Program Annual Action Plan? Any public comment opposed? Second time, any testimony in favor? Any testimony opposed? And nobody has appeared. So the public hearing is now closed at 7:09 PM. Moving on with our regular meeting, we begin with public comment. Seeing none. Communications?
Yes. Communications from Julian Long, Urban Programs Manager, Community Development Block Grant Reallocation Housing Improvement Program. Communications from Julian Long, Urban Program Manager, Urban Programs Department Updates, November 2023.
Without objection, I would like to accept these communications and place them on file. And I would also move that we accept the communication just received as a presentation for this meeting, and place that in our meeting minutes as well. Any discussion? Did you get a copy of this, Alderman Kelly?
This one?
This thing, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Then we're all set. So without objection, we'll accept a copy of that and make sure that it is included in the minutes so the public can see that. Unfinished business?
There is none.
New business resolutions?
Yes. Resolution R23-179, relative to the acceptance of $58,000 from the State of New Hampshire Department of Justice into Police Grant Activity 2024 Violence Against Women Grant Program, and to authorize the transfer of matching funds. Mr. Chairman, I motion to recommend approval of R23-179.
All right, and I see we have someone to present on it. Would you like to give us a primer on this and speak to the
How you
work that it
doing all
does?
tonight? I'm Kevin Basil with the Nashville PD. I'm the grant specialist. This grant we've received, I think, 17 years in a row, 18 years in a row. It re-ups every year. It's been stagnant at $58,000. We use the funds to partially fund our domestic violence advocate and a very small part of one of the officers that are assigned to our domestic violence unit. Our domestic violence unit is staffed with 2 officers and 2 advocates. The matching funds are through their in-kind funds, so they're used from salary from the officer and the domestic violence advocates' fringe benefits. So it runs from January 1st of 2024 through December 31st.
Well, I think it would be unimaginable not to have those programs in place after having established them. And I mean, they're very valuable partners with Bridges and other organizations. Is there any data on how much we're able to achieve on an annual basis using these programs?
As in,
How many people helped? How many calls engaged?
so we deal with over 3,000 calls for service for our domestic violence unit, average about 680 arrests a year. We usually have about 300 plus cases going on at one time. For the data-wise, I don't have any data like what the prosecution rate is and stuff like that, but it is very successful. I was in that unit myself for 2.5 years. The main goal for this unit is the post-arrest, and it's keeping that victim empowered through the process by communicating with them on a daily basis or weekly basis about the criminal justice process and getting them the services, either victim assistance fund or as simple as a cell phone, because sometimes their cell phones get damaged in the process. So that unit's crucial for success, for keeping that cycle from ongoing. So, yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes, you mentioned that it had been stagnant. Do you know how they determine how much we get?
I don't. I ask for more funds every year, and I'm told that's still at 58,000. We had it's called the Hope Fund through Verizon, that used to provide us cell phones to our victims. So an officer would respond for a domestic violence call, and they would say the cell phone was damaged, or they don't have a cell phone, they're actually relocated to a shelter, so they don't have a phone to use. We would provide them with a cell phone. Verizon stopped that program, I think, 4 years ago. We've been trying to reestablish funding to be able to provide that type of service to our victims. We have to get creative other ways to get them some type of communication. So.
Interesting. Thank you.
Alderman Clee?
Thank you. Maybe Xfinity will kick in. They would be nice. They're in mobile phones now, so.
Correct.
The question that I have is, you mentioned something about that the matching funds in the resolution talks about $87,027 is matching funds, but you said something about being in kind.
Yeah.
Because
so
it talks about a transfer of funds, so that's why I didn't.
I believe the transfer funds, it's because we have to have the funds on hand.
Right.
For the charter. So it's a 75-25 split. We always, on this grant, we overmatch because of the people that are assigned to the unit. So the ones that receive funding is the advocate, and I believe majority of that salary is covered by the grant, and the city's, the PD's budget picks up the benefits.
Okay.
And then that's the match there, and then the officer, I think about $8,000 is applied to his salary, and then in turn, we match with his salary plus benefits. So sometimes with grants, you have to have a cash match. In this case here, we have the in-kind, which is the salary and benefits.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much, I appreciate that. Yeah, but if I may, just.
Alderman Clay.
Yeah, just, I wasn't joking, maybe it would be nice if maybe Xfinity, they're so big here in the city, not that Verizon's very big in the city, but where, we do a lot of work with that, it might be nice if they would pick something up and help.
Oh, yes.
They should tell them that.
We've had discussions with
I
multiple
assume you have,
carriers,
yeah.
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 It keeps going up, the cost of the program. We try to do it, if we have the phones and buy prepaid minutes, that gets expensive too. So it depends on what program you go with. It can be, $10,000+ for running that program every year.
Just one.
Alderman Clay.
Maybe if multiple, like T-Mobile and Verizon and Xfinity, each took a bite of it. I'm just throwing.
Oh, I know, I
I know
agree,
you
I
guys have
agree.
been
Yep,
working
no,
so
I
hard
agree,
on it.
yeah. Yep, no, I agree.
Because it sounds like such a valuable program. I can't
Mhm.
imagine being that lost and not having a way of communicating. It would give you that sense of freedom if you
Correct.
had it, so, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So any further questions or comments from the committee? All right. Relative to the acceptance of $58,000 from the State of New Hampshire Department of Justice into Police Grant Activity, 2024 Violence Against Women Grant Activity. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries to recommend final passage.
Thank you for your time. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, before I start, I was neglectful to say that Amy DeRoche was also here as part of the public, and she will be speaking soon, so. R23-181, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of $485,000 from the United States Department of the Interior National Park Service Save America's Treasures Grant Program into capital project activity, Hunt Building repairs and improvements. Mr. Chairman, I motion to recommend approval.
All right, Mr. Roche, I see you're here to speak, and you've already given us a communication. We accept it on file as little slides here. Do you want to begin?
Yes, thank you. For the record, Amy DeRoche, Economic Development, but I'm also the administrator for the Hunt Memorial Building. We received this grant, I want to say probably about a year ago, and have finally gone through the process of being able to line up matching funds for this grant. So concurrently right now, R-23-180 is also being processed to be approved hopefully by the end of the month, and that will contain the match for this $485,000. It's really kind of appropriate that I'm here on such a wintry, rainy day to talk about the building. It was definitely having leaking issues today more than I've ever seen, so it's very appropriate that we're here this evening, and it means a lot that this is finally being passed so we can get the building fixed. The anticipated scope of work that we have right now, we need to replace all the tower window casings. The glass is fine. It will be taken out and stored during the construction process, but the wood is 120 years old. It has given its all. There is really not much else they can do for it. Back in 2011, 2012, there was a renovation of the building, and at that time they did kind of putty the wood a little bit and try and help it along, but it has definitely reached the end of its life. So that's the major leaking at this point in time. We also have a very large, about 22-inch pipe that runs up our chimney stack. It is completely rotten at the bottom and is kind of a danger to the chimney at this point in time, so that will be removed. There's repointing work of a different chimney that needs to be done, also along with the top of the building where water is coming in. We have 2 security doors that will need to be replaced. They are completely rusted through at the bottom, which we're also letting water in today. And we need to replace the heaters in both of the restrooms downstairs as they're currently not working. It's hard to manage all of this list of things at this time where we're completely inundated in a great way with holiday parties, but I do lose a lot of sleep worrying about, my renters calling me going, it's raining in the building, and I have to say, okay, I'll be down, and there's buckets under the sink until I get there. So it's makes me happy at this time of year that this is working its way through the process so we can get the building fixed and restored.
As a point of clarification, this is R-23-181, and you mentioned R-23-180.
Yes.
Looks like a intended revenue fund, which wouldn't go through our committee, so is that just going through?
That
finance
went
or
through
someone
Budget
else?
Committee, yes.
Okay, because we do have the one meeting left in the year, so.
Yep.
Just want to make sure the public knows that the whole story isn't here just because some of this is grant funded, and that's what the Human Affairs Committee does. There would be the meeting that you already presented at?
Yes, we presented both of these resolutions at the Budget Committee last week, and then tonight we're here for our 23-181.
Okay, so if anybody wants info on that side, go check out the Budget Committee meeting. Alderman Kelly.
Thank you. I was like, yeah, I feel like I just talked about this with you. Sorry it was raining in your building today, and looking forward to helping you get that fixed. I didn't ask a set budget, but it just occurred to me that as you go and do projects in old buildings, things tend to snowball. So I just wanted to know if you've built in some contingency to the funding that you have.
Absolutely, yes. That was my first concern, was that we take the windows out and we go, uh-oh. So yeah, there is definitely contingency built into this.
Great, thank you.
Alderman Clee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The flooding that you had downstairs, where GAD was, I think there was some flooding in there. Was that also due to the rain, or was that a pipe that went?
No, that was not due to the rain. That was due to a clogged drainage pipe in a radiator right above it. And because when the air conditioning unit is on, it obviously creates condensation, but then it was plugged, and so it overflowed and went down through the ceiling.
Okay.
But that's been fixed.
May I?
Alderman Clee.
So the security door that you talked about, where the stairs are, is that where the leak and the rusting is?
So there's 2 doors. So there's one door where you come in through the handicap access
Right.
ramp, and then along the same Clinton Street side of the building, down near where GAD is, there's
Right.
that lower door. Both are just rusted out at the bottom. The bottom door wasn't leaking today, yay, but the back door where the handicap ramp is, it was definitely blowing into the building.
If I may just comment,
Alderman Clee.
I'm surprised that the one at that base of those stairs was not, because I would have thought the water was an overflow on it. To continue with what Alderwoman Kelly had mentioned, with the contingency, would additional grant money, if we found out that there was more damage that needed to be done, would there be additional grant money, or is this it? This is just for this historic?
This would be it. It doesn't preclude us from writing another grant. We could certainly do that, but at this time, this is all the grant money that we have.
Yeah, I'd like to see as much work done on this as possible. You've done a lot with little, so thank you.
For my part, I can't imagine it can be easy trying to manage a building that's literally an antique. And that's why putting a little bit of maintenance and management effort in and getting these kind of grants is important to preserving our city's heritage.
Yep.
Because better to prevent it than to, have rain coming in all over all of the antique bookshelves and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
If I may make a comment.
May I finish my comment?
Sorry, I thought you were done, I apologize.
Can you tell me about the occupancy of the building and other units that might be available?
Currently, I don't have any units available. I am fully rented, which is a wonderful thing. And yeah, so all the offices are rented at this time.
So there is both a degree of revenue coming in, but also you have tenants. You gotta make sure that it's not leaking on our
Yeah,
our
well,
revenue
that is one
providers.
thing I did today was run around to all the offices and go, you dry, you dry, you dry? Yeah, oh, okay, we're okay. So yeah, and they know that I check on them, so,
Okay.
yep.
Alderman Clee, would you like to comment?
Yes, I would, and I also want to apologize again to you for.
Feel like we
interrupting you.
might have found a passion area for you?
Well, I wanted to take the opportunity to compliment Mr. Roche. She is, you can't think of the Hunt without thinking about her. She's very passionate about this building, and when I was on the Hunt Board of Trustees through the Aldermanic, you could see that, and she takes care of it with an iron fist. She makes sure everything follows through and all the Ts are crossed and Is are dotted, so we're lucky to have her there, so thank you.
Thank you.
Very good work, Mr. Roche. And I will note for the record that Alderman Moran is now joining us. Maybe I'll give him a second to sit down next time. And Alderman Tebow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not on the committee, but just a couple things. So I told you before, I was concerned about this, if the work's not starting till June. It's a lot of rain coming in over the next few months and snow. Snow hasn't even started. So I'm concerned that more money's gonna be needed because I think things are gonna get worse in there. They're not gonna get better. And so that's a concern. My other question to you is this listed as a historical place, like protected place?
Yes, we are on the National Historic Registry.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from the committee? All right, then the motion is to recommend final passage for, which one are we, R23-181?
Yes.
So recommending final passage for R23-181. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? And we will recommend final passage.
Thank you
for
very
coming,
much.
Mr. Roche. As a piece of housekeeping for Alderman Moran, we received this little mini presentation, which will be included in the minutes. Do you have a copy?
Yes, I do, thank you.
So we'll be including that in the minutes. Next up is Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, R23-184, amending the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Annual Action Plan for fiscal year 2024 relative to the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. Mr. Chairman, I motion for approval.
To re-
I recommend approval of R23-184.
Okay. Manager Long, do you want to come up and give us an introduction here? This comes up a lot in our meetings, so I'm just assuming first-time viewers might actually see this.
Good evening again. This is a request to reallocate funds for our FY24 annual action plan. When that was first adopted, we had allocated $25,000 in funds for Habitat for Humanity's Critical Repairs Program. But upon submission of our action plan to HUD, we learned that unfortunately that activity wasn't eligible. So at that point, that $25,000 was moved to an unallocated reserve. At this point, we have run through almost all of our housing improvement programs funds. And at the request of my staff, I am requesting that the unallocated $25,000 be moved to the HIP program so that we can continue to do home repairs for lower income residents.
Can you tell us a little bit how to apply for that program and who would be eligible?
Yes, those who are eligible are Nashua residents who are at 80% of the area median income or below. If they don't know if they are, that's fine. They can just call us up and we'll walk them through and find out whether they're eligible or not. And I believe it's Mr. Steve Vega is our intake person for that. But if they go to the website, under urban programs, there's a specific section on that sidebar just for our housing improvement program.
Okay. So Alderman Clee had also made a motion to approve rather than recommend final passage. Is that the course you recommend? This isn't going to the full board?
This has to go to the full board.
So is the motion in order to send it to the full board with our recommendation?
I defer to your preference and judgment on that.
I thought it went to the full board, but if you want, I can amend to final passage.
No, the words you had used, I had used the words recommend final passage, and you
Yeah.
said approve, so I thought there was a reason you did that.
Yeah, I just thought that we approved it here, but you're right, it should be recommend final passage, sorry.
I'm just making sure you didn't know something I didn't. So,
No,
all right,
I did
then we
not.
would do our customary motion to recommend final passage. Any questions from the committee? Alderman Moran?
Oh, thank you. Mr. Long, I think we gave extra funds to this program during the last fiscal year, just slightly, a little bit more. Can you tell us if it's been a successful program? Obviously asking for more money, but are a lot of people in the city utilizing it? What kind of examples can you give that we're doing to help people do some repairs? Because I remember back when we were allocating money, and I was one of the aldermen here that was pushing for more for that program. So it sounds like it's a success. So if we could give a little bit more about what's been going on with that program.
Certainly happy to do so. So it covers a wide range of repairs. Repairs do have to relate to health, safety, code compliance, those things. We do a lot of heating systems, a lot of boilers, especially our concern is that we've run through so many of the funds already, and we haven't even hit really cold weather yet. So we do anticipate that there's going to be some heating systems that break down as we get into the colder months, and will need repairs. So I know we've run also the housing improvement program and also the rental improvement program. That one's been a bit more inconsistent, but the housing improvement program, we see pretty consistent applications for that. And we really don't see that slowing in the near future.
That's great follow-up.
Mhm.
Thank you. So an example would be maybe an elderly person or elderly couple, 80% below the AMI on Social Security month to month, reach out to the city and say, my boiler broke. Is there any assistance to help? And we are able to say yes, as long as there's funds.
Yes. The funds are first come, first serve, which is unfortunate, but we do let folks know when they apply, and we do keep them updated as they move through the progress. Right now, we have one project where, I'm trying to remember the details correctly, there's a roof and some other element that needs to be repaired, but because we have concerns about the amount of funds we have, one of those, the less concerning repair, is currently on hold. And the homeowner's been informed of that, but we'd love to be able to do the whole project for that homeowner.
That's great. I can't see a reason why I wouldn't support this. Back to you.
As a point of clarification, when we say the program, are we talking about microloaning, or are we talking about grants to individuals?
So this is a deferred loan program. So we provide the funds up front. We obtain a mortgage on the property, and the funds don't have to be repaid until the property is sold.
Okay. Alderman Kelly, hoping to see your question.
Yes, so, again, I echo the comments that I don't see why we wouldn't support this. But my question was around the ineligibility of the 25,000, just as we go into looking at the new plan, like what made it ineligible in the shortest way possible?
In the shortest way possible, HUD determined that it was too similar to the program we run, the housing improvement program.
Okay, great.
This program? Okay, wait. If I may just restate this. HUD decided that it was too close to the housing improvement program, so we weren't able to give it to Habitat for Humanity, so we're transferring it to the housing improvement program?
Yes, that is the request before the committee.
Way to go, HUD. Any other questions? Alderman Clegg, got nothing?
No.
Okay. All right, then, motion to recommend final passage of R23-184. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Long. Any new business? Madam Clerk?
Sorry.
Wait.
There's none, right? None.
Yep,
Yes,
table in the
ordinance, yes.
committees, none?
None.
General discussion, any topics you want to bring up? Alderman Moran.
Just my apologies to you and the other committee members and the public for being late on childcare. Sick child interrupted my planned childcare arrangements, but we were able to work it out. And I'm glad I got here for the last two.
Good to hear us. And thank you, everybody, for attending, because it's close to the holiday season, and I mean, I'm sure we all have a lot of other commitments and things going on, but I appreciate it, and I'm sure the city staff that are working hard on these grants and people who are gonna benefit from them appreciate that as well. Any other general discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none here. Remarks by other aldermen. Alderman Tebow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I couldn't help myself. I just wanted to say, because this is my last meeting before the holidays, is happy holidays to everyone here and in the city. And I just want people to think about the fact that as a lot of us are having a joyous time, that there's a lot of people out there that are alone or aren't having the time that some of us are having with our families. So please think of them during this holiday season, and I hope everyone has a safe and really happy holidays, and we'll see you on the other side of the holiday. Thanks.
Alderman Cleet.
Thank you. I want to echo what my colleague from Ward 9 had said, and I want to ask a favor of you. One of the things about the comments of that not everybody has the same type of level of holidays. Sometimes they're alone and so on, and sometimes during that time people feel a little bit desperate. Would you mind echoing some of the places people can call and so on if they need help with mental health or reaching
Sure.
out for
I
something
think
like that?
one of the most easy to remember ones that the public would want to know about is 988. 988 is the coordinated crisis access point. And if you do 988, and you can also send text messages to it as well, you can select from different sub-criteria, like if you're a veteran looking for support, or if you are struggling with domestic violence, if you're struggling with substance use disorder. And it is intended to tie together a lot of the local programs that are doing a lot of good. There are also a lot of places that you can go during the holidays, either as a volunteer or to be around people. I know that the Southern Hampshire Rescue Mission is doing a holiday dinner. I know that the Main Street United Methodist has programming along those lines. So I would definitely encourage anybody who is struggling over the holiday, like emotionally, behaviorally, or logistically, to try to see what they can find with the 988 number. If you're looking for supports or places to call or people to get involved, that I would say use 211, which is co-sponsored by United Way and Eversource. And they're a very good opportunity for a directory of who's helping and what do they do. So if you're looking for help with like home repairs or transportation or those types of things, they can tell you what charities are working on those. Or if you're looking to donate or volunteer to charities, that's also a good way of figuring those out.
Thank you.
Okay. Alderman Kelly.
I also wanted to wish everyone a happy holiday, knowing that we won't be back here until the 26th.
Alderman Rand.
I still have to be here on Wednesday, but I too will wish everyone a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, and any other holiday or festive things that you celebrate. Again, echoing Alderman Klee and you, Mr. Chairman, there are many places to call if you are feeling lonely, sad, depressed. This is the time of year to be sad and depressed, where you can have this perception that people are having a great time and you're not, and you're being excluded. It takes up a call, just the 988 or 211. You can find people just to talk to. You don't have to talk about being sad or depressed. You can just have like a 15-minute conversation if something stressed you out, and there's someone there that can listen. Also, great job to DPW and Nashua Fire, and I'm sure PD as well, and AMR, because today was quite a day. It was a disaster out there. I can only imagine what this would have looked like if it was snow. And I know up on Exit 8 on Amherst Street, we heard fire trucks going by all day, plus we lost power a couple times in our commercial buildings. So I'm glad it stopped raining, but good job to those guys that are maintaining the streets and keeping us safe.
I mean, it's a flaming car on Canal Street. I don't know the story behind that, but I hope everybody was okay. So for my comments, this Thursday, part of being together and part of experiencing the holidays and being there for others is recognizing people who we've lost and that and those that knew them and struggle with them. So this Thursday at 6 p.m., we're holding a vigil for the homeless, the people who struggle with homelessness. We do it on the longest night, which is the winter solstice, December 21st, because it symbolizes the long night that you experience when you're struggling without a place to find shelter. Very much in keeping with the Christmas tradition, particularly as Mary and Joseph found themselves homeless and somebody welcomed them in. So it will be in front of City Hall at 6 p.m. Anybody with names of people that we want to remember, feel free to email those to me, or if you want to bring them and just announce them, we will have time to remember people that need to be remembered. And then on a more upbeat note, one of the other things we can do to be with people over the holidays, the Operation Enduring Welcome program, we've been working over the holidays to run holiday events over at Delena's house, make sure that we have a festive Thanksgiving meal and a Veterans Day meal with the veterans. It's a good opportunity to bring food to them, chat with them, see how they're doing, hearing their stories, finding out what they're doing, that kind of stuff that's going on, and to build a relationship with them. And that's what the organization's goal is overall. This year, we're kind of linking that in a new effort. We have worked with Mint Printworks to make hoodies that have veteran-friendly businesses on the back, but they also have on the front a QR code which will link to resources, knowing that sometimes going to like somebody's front desk or calling an 800 line isn't going to be the same as talking to somebody who understands and has been through it. So veterans themselves are very good resources for other veterans. So we're happy to say that the Nashua Public and our sponsors have helped us pull that off. And we are doing our latest holiday meal for veterans this Friday by Soul Sisters. There's a bunch of downtown businesses that have been a big part of this, sponsoring meals and organizing donations of Christmas decorations. We are still looking for gift cards. So there's bins out in various restaurants downtown and different places. There's one right outside the mayor's office, actually. And if you're interested, then feel free to reach out to Operation Enduring Welcome or connect with another organization of your choice, because personally, I find that celebrating the holidays is very enriching if you're doing something for other people and if you're part of a group that is doing that too. And I know I'm not alone because there's an army of volunteers out in Nashua. So if you're feeling like you're looking for purpose this holiday or something to give it a little bit of extra step and you're looking for people, where better to go than other people who are helping people? So that's my pitch. And again, if you're looking for different kind of organizations with different specialties, I recommend 211. They're very, very helpful. Can I have Alderman Kelly?
Move to adjourn?
The motion is heard. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
7:40.